There's something about office romance in K-dramas that just hits differently. Maybe it's because we all know how complicated work relationships can be, or maybe it's because these dramas turn everyday situations into something emotional, dramatic, and honestly, addictive. And lately, this falling in love with a coworker trope is everywhere again, especially with newer dramas bringing fresh twists to it. So today, we're diving into 10 Korean dramas where love starts at work. But I don't just want to list them. I want to know what you think, because some of these relationships feel realistic, and some feel like pure fantasy. Boyfriend on Demand, 2026. Let's start with the newest one that's getting a lot of attention right now. Boyfriend on Demand, starring Jisoo and Seon-guk. This drama takes office romance and adds a modern twist with a virtual dating service. Jisoo plays a workaholic webtoon producer who's so focused on her career that she barely has a personal life. And honestly, I think a lot of people can relate to that. But then she starts using this monthly boyfriend service, which already sounds like something that could exist in real life soon. What makes it interesting is the contrast between her virtual romance and her real-life relationship with her coworker, who starts off as annoying and competitive. And let's be real, that enemies to lovers dynamic in the workplace is always entertaining. But here's what I keep thinking. If you had the option to experience a perfect virtual relationship, would you still choose a messy, unpredictable real one? Dynamite Kiss, 2025. Next, we have Dynamite Kiss, starring Jang Ki-young and An Eun-jin. This one takes a more chaotic approach to office romance. Imagine your coworker suddenly kissing you, and then revealing they've been lying about being married just to keep their job. That's already a lot to process. What I like here is how flawed the characters are. They're not perfect. They make questionable decisions, and yet their relationship still feels human. It's messy in a way that feels real. But at the same time, I can't help but wonder, would a relationship like this actually work in real life, or would it just create more problems? Because mixing lies, work, and romance, that's a dangerous combination. Dr. Romantic, 2016 to 2023. Then there's Dr. Romantic, which is honestly on a completely different level. Featuring Han Suk-kyu and a rotating cast including Yoo Yeon-suk and An Hyo-seop, this drama shows multiple workplace romances in a hospital setting. What I love about this one is that romance isn't the main focus. It grows naturally alongside high-stakes medical situations. And I think that makes it more believable. When people go through intense experiences together, feelings develop in a way that feels earned. But here's a question. Do you prefer romance that's the main storyline, or romance that grows quietly in the background like this? Extraordinary Attorney Woo? Now we have Extraordinary Attorney Woo, starring Park Hyun-bin and Kang Tae-oh. This drama became a global hit, and for good reason. The office romance here feels soft, respectful, and incredibly heartwarming. What stands out to me is how supportive the male lead is. Instead of creating conflict, he becomes a safe space for her. And honestly, that's refreshing. Not every love story needs dramatic tension to be meaningful. But I'm curious, do you find this kind of calm, supportive relationship more satisfying, or do you miss the drama and conflict? Romance is a bonus book. Romance is a bonus book, starring Lena Young and Lee Jong-suk, brings a slightly different angle. This is not just coworkers. It's coworkers who already share a past. And I think that adds emotional depth that you don't always get in typical office romances. Watching their relationship evolve feels comforting, almost nostalgic. It's less about sudden sparks and more about rediscovering feelings. But let me ask you, do you think relationships that start from friendship are stronger, or do they risk ruining what was already there? What's wrong with Secretary Kim? We can't talk about office romance without mentioning What's Wrong with Secretary Kim, starring Park Seo-joon and Park Min-young. This is probably one of the most iconic boss-secretary love stories. It's funny, it's dramatic, and the chemistry is undeniable. But if we think about it realistically, power dynamics like this can be complicated. A CEO falling for his secretary sounds romantic in dramas, but in real life, it might raise a lot of questions. So I want to know, do you think this kind of relationship is still appealing, or does it feel outdated now? Miss Hammurabi. Miss Hammurabi, starring Go-ara and Kim Young-soo, offers a more grounded perspective. Their relationship develops through shared experiences in the courtroom, where they constantly challenge each other's beliefs. What I like here is that the romance doesn't overshadow their professional growth. In fact, it enhances it. But it also raises an interesting point. Can two people with very different values actually build a lasting relationship? Suspicious Partner with Ji Chang-wook and Nam Ji-hyun mixes crime and romance in a way that keeps you hooked. Their relationship starts in chaos with misunderstandings and a murder case, but that tension eventually turns into something deeper. I think this is where K-dramas really shine, turning extreme situations into emotional connections. But again, would a relationship built under stress last in real life? Strong Woman Do Bong-soon, 2017. Then we have Strong Woman Do Bong-soon, starring Park Bo-young and Park Hyung-sik. This one is pure fun, but also surprisingly sweet. The office setup is unique because she works as his bodyguard, which flips the usual power dynamic. And I think that's why it works so well. It feels fresh. It shows that workplace romance doesn't have to follow the same formula. But do you think unique setups like this make a romance more memorable? Doctors, finally, Doctors, starring Park Shin-hye and Kim Rae-won, gives us a long-term perspective. Their relationship evolves over time, from teacher-student to coworkers to lovers. It's a slow journey, and that makes it feel more realistic. People change, circumstances change, and relationships grow with them. But at the same time, some viewers find this kind of progression uncomfortable or complicated. So what do you think? Does a long history make a romance stronger, or does it make things more complicated? When you look at all these dramas together, it's clear that office romance in K-dramas isn't just one thing. It can be sweet, messy, intense, unrealistic, or surprisingly relatable. And maybe that's why we keep watching. Because somewhere in all these stories, we see a version of love that feels possible, even if it's just a little bit exaggerated. But now I want to hear from you. Out of all these dramas, which office romance feels the most real to you? And which one would you actually want to experience in your own life?